All right, Eagles fans, it's that time of year again. We're officially into the OTA stretch, and even though the pads aren't on yet, there's already a ton to unpack. The energy is different, the stakes are high, and whether you're a diehard who's been counting down the days or a casual checking in for the first time this offseason, you're going to want to lock in because this year's OTAs aren't just about warm-ups and walkthroughs. They're the first real glimpse into what this new version of the Philadelphia Eagles might look like. And trust me, there are names, stories, and potential breakout stars that are absolutely worth your attention. First things first, the schedule. Philly's OTAs this year are set over 6 sessions, May 27th and 28th, May 30th, June 2nd, 3rd, and 5th. That's fewer than the 10 days teams are technically allowed to use, but head coach Nick Sirianni made a calculated choice. Instead of grinding out all 10, he's opting for quality over quantity. No pads, no full contact. So really, it's all about the reps, the timing, the installs, and the chemistry. Sirianni's clearly looking to strike that perfect balance. Pushing the guys just enough to get the wheels turning, but not so much that you risk burnout or injury this early in the calendar, especially with training camp still a ways away. And speaking of turning wheels, let's talk about the guy who, without question, has the potential to be the biggest eye catcher during these sessions, Andrew Mukuba. Now look, not a lot of folks outside the Draftnik bubble were talking about Mukuba like he was a future star. But those inside league circles, they've been buzzing. Former coaches, scouts, even draft analysts have gone on record saying this kid might not just be the best safety in this year's class. Some say he's better than any safety in the last 3 drafts. That's a bold claim. But when you turn on the tape, man, you start to see why. Sure, OTAs are in full contact, so we won't see the hits that earned Mukuba the kind of reputation that had a former NFL quarterback saying it, knock your chin strap off. But with 7-on-7, 9-on-7, and even full 11-on-11 drills on the menu, there will still be plenty of chances for Mukuba to flash to instincts, awareness, and versatility that made him such an intriguing pick for Philly. His former college coach described him as a guy who just gets defense. He understands pre-snap reads, adjusts on the fly, and knows how to position himself to make plays. And when you've got a guy like that entering a Vic Fangio system, the potential is serious. Fangio's defensive schemes aren't for the faint of heart. They're complex, demanding, and require smart players who can process fast. But Mukuba, by all accounts, might be the perfect fit. You pair that football IQ with the kind of physical talent he's got, and it's easy to imagine a scenario where he's not just rotating in, he's making an impact, pushing for snaps, and maybe even locking down a role by the time the regular season hits. And that's without even factoring in the competition in that defensive backfield, which is already pretty fierce. But Mukuba isn't the only one raising eyebrows. Over on the offensive side, 2 names are leading the way with pure effort and insane off-season grind. A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith. These dudes have been putting in some next-level work. Let's start with Smith, the Slim Reaper himself. He's been up before the sun, hitting the gym before 5 in the morning, locked in on refining his footwork, building strength, and taking that already dangerous route running to another stratosphere. You don't wake up that early and train that hard unless you're hunting greatness, and Devonta's clearly on a mission. Then you got A.J. Brown, who's out here putting himself through workouts that most NFL players would straight up avoid. We're talking about grinding in environments labeled as the most dangerous gym in America. Say what you want about the method, but the message is clear. AJ is chasing that dog mentality every single day. He's not satisfied being elite. He's trying to find the edge, mentally and physically, that separates the greats from the legends. And honestly, that kind of mindset is contagious. You start to see that drive spread throughout the locker room, especially when your stars are the ones leading the charge. Still, for all the focus on the big names, sometimes the most valuable pieces are the ones flying under the radar. Case in point, Moro Ojomo. Now, here's a dude that NFL.com just named as Philly's most underappreciated player. And it's easy to see why. After being a 7th-round pick in 2023, Ojomo has quietly climbed the She ranks. Last year, he logged more defensive snaps than Jordan Davis and posted the 2nd highest pass rush win rate among all interior defensive linemen, second only to Kansas City's Chris Jones. That's elite company. And now, with Milton Williams out of the picture, Ojomo's role is only going to grow. Line him up next to Jalen Carter, throw in some help from Ty Robinson and the vanilla gorilla himself, and suddenly the Eagles have the makings of a defensive line that can absolutely wreak havoc. And the crazy part? Just 2 years ago, Ojomo was fighting for a roster spot. Now he's primed to be a significant part of this rotation and possibly a game changer in those big-time third down situations. Now, all this sets the stage for something fans always look forward to, the early 53-man roster projection. Yeah, it's still May. Yeah, things are going to change. But that doesn't mean we can't throw out an early look and start making some predictions. At quarterback is pretty straightforward. Jalen Hurts is the guy. No surprise there. Behind him, Tanner McKee and rookie Kyle McCord round out the room. There was some chatter about Dorian Thompson-Robinson after the trade. But with McCord under a controllable contract and showing flashes in spring work, it looks like he's going to get every chance to beat out the competition. At running back, expect to see SAQUON Barkley, Will Shipley, A.J. Dillon, and Ben Van Sumeren on the roster. Now, some folks are questioning whether Dillon sticks. He missed all of 2024 with an injury, and his deal isn't fully guaranteed. But I think the Eagles keep him around. This team still leans on the run game, and you can never have too many capable backs. Some have floated Avery Williams into the conversation here, especially for his special teams value, but I see him making the roster at a different position, wide. Receiver is always a stacked group in Philly, and this year is no different. Obviously, A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith are locked in. Add Jahan Dotson, Johnny Wilson, and yes, Avery Williams as your fifth guy. He's the kind of Swiss Army knife player that Nick Sirianni loves. Someone who can contribute in multiple phases and has the kind of versatility that gives this coaching staff options. Tight ends looking like a three-man room right now. Dallas Goedert and Grant Calcaterra are the first two in. For the third spot, I'm going with Kylan Granson. I know there's been some support for Harrison Bryant, but Granson's blocking ability and athletic upside give him the edge in my book. He finished last season as one of the top 10 blocking tight ends in the entire league. And in this offense, that matters. The offensive line, as always under Jeff Stoutland, will be deep. Expect at least 11 names to make the cut, with starters Jordan Mailata, Landon Dickerson, Cam Jurgens, Tyler Steen, and Lane Johnson leading the way. Behind them, you've got Kenyon Green as a swing guard, Kendall Lamb as the swing tackle, and Drew Dahlman as the backup center. Rounding it out, I'm keeping Miles Hinton, Cameron Williams, and Trevor Keegan. All developmental guys, but ones with potential and upside. If needed, a phantom IR situation could keep one stashed for the future. We've still got a ton more to cover, including edge rushers, linebackers, corners, safeties, and of course, special teams. But already, you can feel the shape of this team starting to come into focus. The Eagles aren't just filling holes, they're building something bigger. The question now is, who's going to seize their moment and lock down a spot before the real action begins? Let's find out. Let's keep this momentum rolling, because if you think the offense already brought some tough decisions, wait until you get into the defensive side of the ball. This is where things get really spicy. The Eagles have quietly built one of the deepest defensive fronts in the league, and now it's time to figure out which dogs are going to eat this season. Starting with the edge rushers, this is a group that's undergoing a bit of a transition. No more Brandon Graham and no more Josh Sweat, at least for now, which leaves room for a new wave of talent to step up and claim their spot. In this projection, I've got the Eagles rolling with 6 edge rushers. Bryce Huff is the wild card here. Yes, I've mentioned before the possibility of him being traded, and honestly, that could still happen depending on how things shake out. But for now, let's assume he's staying put. Alongside Huff, Nolan Smith and Jalex Hunt are locked in. Smith is entering that critical breakout window, and after flashes last season, expectations are high. Hunt, the rookie, is already showing he belongs. Add in Azeez Ojulari, a seasoned pass rusher with a high motor, rookie Antoine Powell-Ryland, who's drawing comparisons to a young Hauson Reddick, and finally Patrick Johnson, who might be flying under the radar for some, but not for special teams coordinators. Johnson might not have the flashiest tape, but he's physical, smart, and brings consistent effort on every snap. That's the kind of glue guy every locker room needs. With those names on the edge, the defensive line rotation inside looks even more stacked. 5 guys here make the cut in this projection: Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, Moro Ojomo, Ty Robinson, and Thomas Booker. Carter's the alpha, plain and simple. The expectations on him are through the roof, but the guy embraces it. Davis, on the other hand, still has something to prove. His conditioning, his impact on passing downs, that's what will define his year. Ojomo, as mentioned before, is the sleeper. He's efficient, disruptive, and looks like he's ready to take that leap. Robinson and Booker fill out the depth, with both offering rotational upside and the kind of toughness that this coaching staff loves. Booker, in particular, is an interesting case. He's not guaranteed anything, but if he continues to build on what he showed last year, he could carve out a real role. Behind those guys are names like Gabe Hall and Byron Young, but for now, they're on the outside looking in. Linebacker is a position that's been under the microscope in Philly for a few seasons now, and this year's group looks like one of the most intriguing in recent memory. First off, you've got Zach Bond, the All-Pro, who's anchoring this unit. He's got the range, the instincts, and the leadership to be the guy. Next to him, Jair Brown is penciled in, though he's still getting back to full speed. Wow. He works his way in. Expect Jeremiah Trotter Jr. and Smile Mondon Jr. to get plenty of reps. Trotter's already got that legacy vibe going, carrying his dad's name with pride and playing with a chip on his shoulder. Mondon's athletic profile jumps off the page. He just needs to keep stacking good days. Nakobe Dean is still working his way back and will likely start on the physically unable to perform list. But he's not out of the picture long term. Once he's healthy, he could change the dynamics of this room in a big way. At cornerback, the Eagles have some legitimate depth, and that's not something you could say every year. Right now, 5 names are basically locked: Quinion Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, Kelly Ringo, Adoree Jackson, and Rookie McKinstry. The big question is whether they roll with 6 corners, and if they do, that 6th spot likely goes to Eli Ricks. There's been a lot of debate around Ricks, with some fans high on his potential and others ready to move on. But the truth is Howie Roseman loves his skill set. Plus, with the number of sub-packages and nickel formations Fangio likes to use, having an extra corner who's long, physical, and can play multiple spots makes too much sense. This isn't a throwaway year for Ricks. It's do or die, and he knows it. Then we get to the safeties, and this is where things get really interesting. Right now, I've got 3 names making the cut: Reed Blankenship, Andrew Mukuba, and Sidney Brown. Blankenship has been solid and continues to grow in his role. Mukuba, as we talked about earlier, could be the breakout guy this defense needs. And Sidney Brown, he's physical, fast, and brings that enforcer mentality on the back. And some people have argued that the team might bring in a veteran like Justin Simmons to round out the group. And while that could still happen, the current trio feels strong enough to head into camp with confidence. Tristan McCollum is another name to watch, especially for special teams. But right now, the numbers are tight. Last but not least, special teams. Jake Elliott is still your kicker, and he's been nails for Philly. No reason to change anything there. Punter duties fall to Braden Mann, and at long snapper, it's Charlie Hewlett taking over after the team moved on from Rick Lovato. Nothing flashy here, just reliable execution. And that's all you want from your specialists. And just like that, we've got our first full look at what the Eagles' 53-man roster could look like heading into the season. Is it going to change? Absolutely. That's the nature of the offseason. Injuries happen, players emerge, others fade, and there's always a trade or two that shifts the whole landscape. But for right now, this is a snapshot, a way to start the conversation and get the wheels turning. And let's be honest, there's no better way to kick off OTAs than with a little roster drama, a few surprise names, and a whole lot of optimism. So now the spotlight shifts to the field. Every rep counts. Every mistake is magnified, and every day is a chance for someone to make their case. Whether it's a rookie trying to defy the odds or a veteran looking to prove he's still got juice in the tank, the grind begins now. And for fans, that means keeping your eyes glued to every update, every highlight, and every whisper coming out of the NovaCare complex. Because this roster, it's not set in stone, not even close. And over the next few weeks, the real battles are going to begin. You want bold takes? Here's one. Don't be surprised if a guy like Kyle McCord not only makes the team, but ends up as the primary backup before the preseason is over. Or if someone like Avery Williams ends up being one of the most impactful special teamers in the league. These things happen every year. Unexpected rises, disappointing cuts, and names you didn't know 2 months ago becoming household talking points by September. It's the beauty of football. The constant churn, the hunger. Now go ahead and save this projection. Bookmark it. Screenshot it. Because come final cut down day, we're all going to be going back and seeing what we got right. And where we completely missed. It's part of the fun. And make no mistake, this isn't the last roster projection. Far from it. This is just round one. The first salvo in what's going to be a long, intense, and exhilarating build-up to the regular season. And if you're an Eagles fan, strap in. Because this journey, it's just getting started. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest updates on our Philadelphia Eagles. And don't be shy. Share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. How could the Philadelphia Eagles be crafting a legacy as one of the greatest teams ever? That's the latest buzz swirling around the NFL after star running back SAQUON Barkley made headlines with a bold statement. This Eagles team is one of the greatest of all time. Barkley's comment, made during an informal interview after a recent practice, has set the football world abuzz. Some insiders wonder if his words were just a nod to his new teammates or a genuine belief in the historic potential of this roster. Either way, it has sparked debate among fans and analysts alike. Rumors around the league suggest that Barkley, known for his competitive fire and candid nature, might be seeing something special from the inside that outsiders haven't fully grasped yet. After all, the Eagles boast one of the most complete rosters in recent memory. From their star-studded offense led by Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown to a fearsome defense stacked with playmakers at every level. Whispers from the locker room indicate that the team chemistry is at an all-time high, with veterans and young talent blending seamlessly. Barkley's arrival seems to have injected even more energy into a squad already hungry for another Super Bowl run. Of course, some skeptics caution against crowning the Eagles too soon. The NFL is notoriously unpredictable, and injuries or unforeseen slumps can derail even the most promising seasons. But Barkley's declaration has undeniably fueled speculation that this team could be on the verge of something historic. Could SAQUON's words be prophetic? Only time will tell if this iteration of the Eagles can cement their place among the NFL's all-time greats. For now, his statement lingers as both a bold prediction and a rallying cry, echoing through the league as the season approaches. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Philadelphia Eagles, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.